Welcome back to Paranormal 3.33 podcast. Don't forget to follow us at Paranormal 333 of Mara for more spine-chilling content. Today, we're diving into the strange death of Juan Ramón Sáenz, a man who spent his life exploring the unexplained.
Yeah, and what makes this case so fascinating is that Sáenz wasn't just some, fringe radio host. This was a prominent lawyer.
Really?
Yeah, and criminologist.
Wow.
A household name in Mexico thanks to his paranormal radio and television shows. The guy even wrote 5 books on the subject.
Okay, so we're talking someone deeply embedded in the world of the paranormal, not just like a casual observer.
Exactly, and that's what makes this case, well, so unsettling.
So where do we even begin with this? What's our starting point for this deep dive?
Well, I think a good place to start is with one of his most famous cases, a case that really shook people up back in 2002.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So picture this. It's 2002, and Sáenz is hosting his popular radio show, Mano Peluda. It's late, and he gets a call from a young man named Josue Velasquez.
Okay, so a late night call already sounds spooky. What was so special about this Velasquez guy?
Well, this call, let me tell you, it wasn't your typical spooky story. Velasquez claimed he had made a pact with a demon.
A demon pact. Now, I've heard my fair share of spooky stories, but a demon pact, that's a whole other level.
Right. And it is here where the story takes a turn from interesting to downright unsettling. Velasquez claimed he made this pact with a demon called, get this, Lucifuge Rofical.
Lucifuge, okay, I gotta admit, that name doesn't exactly inspire warm and fuzzy feelings. Who or what is this Lucifuge Rofical?
Yeah, so for those unfamiliar, Lucifuge Rofical is a demon often associated with wealth and forbidden knowledge in demonology. Not exactly the kind of entity you want to be making deals with, right?
Definitely not someone I'd invite over for tea and biscuits. So what did this Velasquez guy offer in this alleged pact?
Well, according to Velasquez, he was desperate, his family was struggling financially, and he craved wealth and power. So he made this deal with Lucifuge in exchange for, you guessed it, wealth and power.
Okay, but deals with demons, they always come with a price. What did this guy have to give up?
This is where it gets really dark. Velasquez claimed that to seal the pact, he had to make the ultimate sacrifice, the life of his own grandmother.
Hold on, he sacrificed his grandmother. That's beyond disturbing.
Hmm.
Was there any evidence to support this claim? Did they ever investigate him?
That's the strange part. According to accounts, there was no evidence to incriminate Velasquez in his grandmother's death.
So they just, ruled it as natural causes?
Exactly.
Wow, so he allegedly gets away with this horrific act. That's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
But it's not like he got away scot-free, right? I mean, this demon pact couldn't have worked out well for him if he's calling into a paranormal radio show.
You're right. You see, Velasquez claimed that after the pact, after everything he had done, he was tormented. He said a terrifying female entity followed him everywhere.
A female entity, like a ghost, a demon, what?
He never specified, but during that call, during his confession to Juan Ramón, strange things allegedly happened in the studio.
What do you mean, strange things? Give me some chills here.
Well, according to witnesses, the temperature in the studio plummeted, a Bible spontaneously turned pages, and even Juan Ramón's computer malfunctioned.
Okay, now that's just creepy. It's like something out of a horror movie.
Mhm.
So do you think something supernatural was going on? Or could there be a more rational explanation?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, skeptics would likely point to possible logical explanations for the studio's strange occurrences, maybe technical difficulties, or even an elaborate prank.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it could have been a prank, but still the timing of it all.
Exactly. It's the timing coinciding with Velasquez's call that makes it so intriguing. It's almost as if something was listening in, reacting to this confession.
I see what you mean. It's easy to dismiss these things in isolation, but when they happen all at once, like that, it makes you wonder.
Yep.
But let's get back to Juan Ramón. How does he factor into all of this beyond that phone call?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Fast forward to 2011, Juan Ramón, he's now part of the television show Extra Normal, and he decides to revisit this case to meet with Velasquez face-to-face.
Wow, he went looking for this guy almost a decade later. That's some dedication.
Yeah.
So did they meet up at the studio? Did they bring him on the show?
This is the really strange part. They decided to do the interview on a boat.
A boat. That seems a bit extreme, even for a paranormal investigation, don't you think?
Yeah.
Was there a reason they chose such an unusual location?
It's speculated that they believed the boat, being surrounded by water, would somehow offer them protection from any demonic influences. It's almost as if they were venturing into unknown territory, literally and figuratively.
That's a really interesting thought. It's like they were acknowledging the potential danger of this interview, creating this like symbolic barrier between themselves and whatever forces might be at play.
Exactly. And during this interview, Velasquez, who seemed visibly worn down, by the way, claimed he still possessed the Ring of Solomon, which he allegedly received as part of the pact.
Hold on, back up. The Ring of Solomon. That's some serious biblical artifact stuff. What was he doing with that?
He claimed it was part of the pact, that the demon gave it to him.
And I'm guessing this ring wasn't exactly bringing him good luck?
Not at all. He claimed he was still tormented by that entity, the one he mentioned on the phone all those years ago.
So he's basically living a real-life horror movie. Okay, then what happened? Did they try to help him? Did they get rid of the ring?
We'll get into the aftermath of the interview next time, but there's one detail, one chilling detail that sends chills down my spine every time I think about it.
Okay, you know I love a good spooky detail. Hit me with it.
Juan Ramón. He was the only one who shook Velasquez's right hand.
Now, I don't want to jump to conclusions here, but that sounds like the beginning of every horror movie I've ever seen. What happened after the interview?
Well, let's just say things took a turn, a dark turn for the crew, shortly after that boat interview.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, one of the cameramen, he ended up needing emergency surgery.
Oh wow, that's terrible. What happened?
They never really revealed the specifics, but it was serious, definitely unexpected.
Okay, so bad luck for one crew member, but surely that's just a coincidence, right?
Well, here's the thing. It didn't stop there. Another crew member, shortly after that, got into a near-fatal car accident.
Are you serious? 2 crew members in a row? That is not just a coincidence anymore.
Right. It's like whatever darkness Velasquez was mixed up in, it's like it followed them home from that lake.
Okay, now that's just too many strange occurrences to ignore. It's like whatever darkness Velasquez was mixed up in, it followed them home from that lake.
Precisely. And then, and this is the really unsettling part, just 10 days after that interview, Juan Ramón Sáenz, he dies suddenly.
He died? What? How?
He was only 48 years old.
48? That's no age at all. What happened?
Officially, the cause of death was cardiac arrest brought on by a stomach infection.
A stomach infection. That's, I mean, tragic, of course, but it doesn't sound like anything, paranormal.
You're right. On the surface, it seems like a tragic but ultimately natural event, right?
Right.
But the timing, it's just, well, it's unsettling, to say the least.
10 days
Yeah.
after that interview. That's incredibly eerie timing.
It is, and it's hard to ignore the fact that he was in contact with Velasquez, who claimed to be cursed right before this happened.
Do you think that's in? Do you think he was, like, cursed?
It's impossible to say for sure, but it's definitely a chilling thought, isn't it? I mean, think about it. This man, he spent his life exploring the paranormal, confronting these unknown forces, and then he dies suddenly under mysterious circumstances just days after this interview with a man who claimed to have made a pact with a demon.
It's like something out of one of his shows. Right.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, what did he get himself into? Did he stumble upon something he shouldn't have?
This is giving me chills. I mean, what do we make of all this? It's a strange dichotomy, isn't it? This man, he dedicates his life to exploring the unknown, to like shedding light on the paranormal, and then he dies under such mysterious circumstances.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, was Juan Ramon's death just a tragic coincidence, a random act of fate? Or did his lifelong exploration of the paranormal, his willingness to confront those dark forces ultimately lead to his demise? It's a question that continues to haunt this case.
It's almost Shakespearean, like the idea that the very thing he sought to understand might have consumed him in the end. It's a classic tragedy, just with a paranormal twist.
Right. And what's even more intriguing is the timing of his death. Here he is writing this book about 2012, a year shrouded in prophecy and apocalyptic anticipation. And then, boom, he dies just a few years before it arrives. It's like, it's hard not to see a connection, even if it's just a symbolic one. You know what I mean?
Totally. It's like something out of one of his own investigations, where the detail that seems insignificant on its own. But when you put it together with everything else, it takes on a whole new meaning. It's those little details, those eerie coincidences that really get under your skin.
Precisely. And while we may never have a definitive answer about the circumstances of Juan Ramon's death, I think it serves as a potent reminder about the power of belief, the hold that the unknown has on our collective psyche.
It's a reminder that even in this age of reason and scientific advancement, there are still things that defy explanation, things that make us question the very nature of reality, But maybe that's the enduring appeal of the paranormal, the allure of the unknown. It's that mystery that keeps us coming back for more.
Absolutely. It's the mystery, that possibility that there's more to our existence than meets the eye, the possibility that keeps us fascinated and, let's be honest, a little frightened. And Juan Ramón Sáenz, through his work, through his life, he tapped into that fascination, that primal fear, and he made us confront it head on.
He invited us to question, you know, to question our assumptions, to consider the possibility of something beyond our comprehension. And even though he's gone, his legacy, it continues to encourage us to explore those dark corners of the world, but always with a sense of, I don't know, caution, a respect for the unknown.
Beautifully put. I think that's a great way to sum it up. Juan Ramón Sáenz, he was a pioneer, a voice of reason in a realm often defined by fear and superstition. And while his death, well, it remains a mystery, his impact on the world of the paranormal, on our understanding of the unexplained, is undeniable. He left a mark, that's for sure.
Well said, well said. Well, folks, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the mysterious case of Juan Ramón Sáenz. If you found this exploration into the unknown as chilling as we did, be sure to follow us at Paranormal 333 of the course for more brain-chilling content. Until next time, keep those flashlights handy, and remember, sometimes the most unsettling truth is the one we just can't explain.